So there's a confession and then there is a commitment. A confession.
Mm,
I did not read the chapter to refresh my memory on the content of this specific chapter, but the main
okay.
principle that this chapter is talking about, I'm good to talk about it. And I feel like I'm going to bring some halfway decent content to this episode of our mastermind. Second,
Right.
one of the reasons why is my son came to me with like, like, hey, I want to talk to you about something, and
Wow.
that became a priority. Now,
Nice.
I'm never not going to do that, but I can navigate this conversation very, very well. So
All right.
let's get into it. So this is the connector circle. I am Brian Rush. He is.
Joe V. Hill.
Oh man, he is Joe V. Hill, Maxwell Leadership, speakers, coaches, trainers, and we want to talk about mastering the skill of connection. So I'm going to start right off. The power of common ground, and I'm following this amazing outline that you developed. When was the last time you saw common ground help resolve a conflict?
Oh my goodness. It's been a while, to be honest with you. But there's been a few instances that do come to mind. But common ground is just one of those things maybe we don't recognize right away, especially when it comes to conflict, right? But having said that, when we have to actually dig into it a little bit and find out what that common ground is, especially to resolve a conflict and to be resilient later on. But I can think of one incident where another leader and we were kind of bickering over this one soldier that just wasn't doing his part in what he should have been doing.
Mm,
He was basically saying, "Hey, let's slam him. He's no good, and all this other stuff. Let's do some, non-judicial punishment, punitive type action." I'm like, no, no, no. He's salvageable. I think we can make the effort to go ahead and try and salvage this guy. We don't know what he's going through right now. Come to find out, he did have some family issues.
mm,
We neither one of us knew that, but we just all three of us sat down. We spoke to the kid and just said, "Man, there's something going on that's a little bit deeper than this. Your performance is low. You got a lousy attitude. Your peers are complaining about you, which is it's not uncommon that when peers complain, but it's uncommon that they might bring it to leadership because they feel like they're going to rat the guy out, and
right,
they don't want that to happen."
right.
So the leader and I, we kind of got together, we put our heads together, we came up with some sort of performance plan, check in with us, call us. Your peers are going to be looking at you as well. They're going to come to us, and it's not to hurt you, it's not to rat you out. We just have to figure out what it is we need to do to help you.
Mm,
So we kind of did that, and we did get him some help. There was some financial issues that was just kind of eating at him. He didn't know how to balance his checkbook at the time when they were using checkbooks, of course.
right.
Everything's done online now.
Mm,
But we actually there was some resolution. We actually resolved some of the issues that he was facing. He went to
nice.
financial counseling. He and his wife, but the other leader and I, we were just at odds. I mean, and I will say this about the other leader: he had some legitimate concerns about this guy. Like, we better put him out.
Mm,
I, I did kind of agree with him at the time, but I was also like, there's something else.
yeah.
I think
Let's.
we can help him. And if we can't, you know what? We'll go your route.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that was
Awesome.
just one of those things, yeah, that we had to try and figure out. But I mean, what do you think? You ever run into one of those issues as well, where you had to connect with somebody that you were at odds with, but you knew you had to connect with them? I mean, did you ever
So
run into
yeah,
those issues
yeah.
yourself?
So I had to play the role of mediator between two team leaders, and actually they were division leaders. And
Mm.
there was drama. It had lasted for a really, really long time, and their respective
Ooh.
teams took sides. And so I prepared for this mediation session, and a part of the mediation session was we're going to put all the cards on the table, but we're also not going to launch any arrows at the other person, and we're going to emphasize what we both have in common. Right? Both parties want to see their respective teams be successful. Both parties want to be heard, and both parties feel like some of the things that they've done have been undermined by by things that have happened by the other division. So I made them basically connect on the common things that the common things that they share. They both want to do a good job as respective division leaders. They both kind of felt slighted by some things that happened, and they both want to be effective. And so I said, if this is both of y'all shared common ground, we can work on everything else, because one of your goals is not to undermine the other person. Both of your goals are to be successful. And so whenever they emphasized what they have in common, they both want to do good for their divisions. It made them forget about the petty squabbles that turned into a much bigger issue. And we over the work of the session, they put their complaints and their angst down, and that common ground was the hinge for them to come up with action steps on how they can get reconnected. So that was a good one. That was a good one.
Oh man, that must have been something, especially when you got division leaders, especially at that level,
Yep.
in any type of organization, because kind of what happens is there's going to be that power struggle,
Mm.
in one way or the other, one direction or another, that tug of war. Did you kind of sense any of that just a little bit, even though you laid out all the cards on the table?
The power struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, because both of them were looking at it from their point of view.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I'm hurt, therefore I should be heard.
Mhm.
And my job was to say, I don't want you to be me focused. What is their point of view?
Ah,
What is
yeah.
their point of view? Have you heard them yet? And so I made them. I structured it very very carefully, and that became the focal point. It's not me, my feelings, and how I feel. It's understand the other person. Understand you guys have something in common. Get
Right.
get it out on the table, and now let's move forward.
Oh man, that kind of leads into the follow-up question, but you kind of answered it though. So I mean, what made that shift once that those two division leaders found something that they shared? I mean, it must have taken a minute or two though, right?
Yeah. So it took the focus off of this is what I want to say in this meeting.
Yeah,
Or this
yeah.
is what I want to say in this interaction. Have you ever had a pre-planned thing that you wanted to say if you got the chance to say it?
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh man, I can't wait to share this
Yeah.
because it's like a humble brag or it's a dig on them.
Yes.
And so it
Yes.
just gets you out of that. This is what I want to spew onto the conversation
Mhm.
to, oh, this is what we have in common. And this is how we both see things. And we both have this goal. So we can work together because their
Yeah.
goals are aligned with mine.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting point, man. That's good. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I'll ask, what does common ground actually look like in a high stakes conversation? Ooh, that's such a good question.
Man, what does common ground actually look like in a high stakes conversation? I think, first of all, we got to get to that point,
Mm,
that common ground, because I think initially, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it becomes a turf war at first.
yes.
It's like you were saying, I got this to say, and I know I'm going to be tugging on their ear and they're going to get all defensive, but now I can counteract,
Mm-hmm.
and do a preemptive strike if need be. And the other person's probably thinking the same thing.
Yes.
So realistically, there's still that commonality, even though they're going to be at odds. So as leaders, and connectors, we have to get them to that point, like you were mentioning, on that common ground. But to get to that high stakes portion, as you asked, they have to see the end result. Like Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind.
Yes.
But sometimes we can't get those individuals to begin with the end in mind because they're, like you said, they got that dig, they got that jab, they're
Right.
ready to, go all out, right?
Right.
But once we reach that common ground, it could be like all bets are off. Look, I was wrong. And the other one
Yes.
might say, man, I was wrong too.
Yeah.
And I apologize, but we can't be thinking about us.
Yeah.
We have to think about a bigger perspective called the organization and the
Yeah.
people.
And so,
And the bottom line. So on that high stakes portion, when in that conversation, I think it begins with humility on both parties.
yes, absolutely. So, if it's a high stakes conversation, you have to think, how can I end this conversation with the intended goal still a possibility? How can I end this conversation with the intended goal still a possibility? If I
Yes.
try to basically bulldoze my way through this conversation, I'm not going to get my intended outcome if their part in it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in life, there are no solo acts. Like my family only runs with a team of people. My business
Yes.
only runs with a team of people. The big things that I
Mhm.
need to get done, it's only going to happen with a team of people. So then
Right.
almost every conversation, it's a high stakes conversation. And I want to focus on this is what we have in common. Even though,
Yes.
so for example, if my wife and I are arguing, I want to hinge on the fact that we both are committed to this family and we want to see the family do well. This
Right.
this individual situation, we may have a difference, but our common ground is the best intentions for our family.
Yes.
Now let's use that goal to okay, how do you see the situation? How do I see this situation? Where can we come together and better understand how each other? All right, and I'm going
No,
to steal one of your questions too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but I gotta elaborate on that. What you just said from a family perspective, can you imagine how many marriages would be saved if we just use that approach?
Yeah.
When those arguments or intense moments of fellowship popped up, can you imagine
Yeah.
how many marriages would be saved? That was a good point. I love it, man. I love how you bring that out.
Yeah. All right. And so then then our outline has a question by you.
Okay. So when it's missing, how can you tell? I mean, that high stakes conversation portion,
Oh,
that common ground, what does it look like? When it's missing, how can you tell, and what signs do you notice?
I think you feel a lack of I think you feel as if you're speaking two different languages.
Mhm.
You feel physically and emotionally uncomfortable. You feel unheard and or unseen.
Yeah.
Whenever there is not that common ground, there is this tension, almost as if you're speaking Italian and they're speaking French.
Yes.
And so, that's my short answer. Let me turn the question on to you. How do
Mhm.
you feel? When it's missing? How can you tell?
Oh, and so because I'm a kind of a how can I put this? Uh, because I'm a late starter, sometimes I don't see it right away.
Mm,
Sometimes I have to keep asking that same question. What are you saying? What do you mean?
mm,
No, 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 no. You know what? Do me a favor, that question or rephrase that statement because there's that gap that I'm just not recognizing. And that sometimes, like if I'm arguing, my wife and I, we have again that intense moment of fellowship, right?
right, right.
Uh, so we don't get in arguments; we just have intense moments of fellowship. Anyway,
So funny.
that bridge, I'm just trying to get it, close that gap a little bit, and then we can
Yes.
build that bridge. And as we're closing the gap, both of us, that's when I can say, "Geez, that was the intent of what she was saying, and
Hmm.
I totally missed it."
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
And,
it's
and
yeah, yeah,
the common ground, connectors find common ground. That's the
yes.
gist of the chapter.
Mhm.
And this is not a part of our outline, but let me just tell you before you can try to connect with somebody and earn alignment and collaboration, if you
Right.
have not emphasized what you both have in common, they aren't their walls are going to be up to whatever it is you're trying to get in alignment for.
Yes.
So again, I love to use the analogy of tilling the ground. We don't live in an agricultural society anymore. We're very
Right.
high tech, but there is some that to garden. You've got to till the ground to break up
Yes.
the hard and dry soil. You've got to
Yeah.
turn the soil over to where it's good soil underneath it. You've got to condition the ground in order to be fruitful.
Mhm.
And so that common ground, you bring out those things, setting the table for connection. So then, if I know Joe likes to travel, that's common ground. Joe,
Common
you like
ground.
to travel? That's so cool. I
Yeah.
I want to highlight that between the two of us. Before we
Mhm.
even get down to business, I want to highlight that between the two of us. That common ground is going to be fertilizer for a
Yes.
for lack of a better term. What do you think?
I like that analogy that you use because even when it comes to fertilizing, nobody wants to do that part
Mm-hmm.
because it's messy, it stinks, and nobody just wants to mess with the manure. Let's throw it out there, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to mess with the manure. But we actually have to be fertile and, like you said, mix those ingredients to where we're growing. The Bible says that somebody plants, somebody waters, but God gives the increase.
Hmm.
It's that same thing. You know,
Yes.
one of us has to plant in the marriage. Okay. One of us has to water in the marriage and let that other one, let God give the increase
Yeah.
to make us stronger in that marriage. And even in a relationship, even in a working relationship in a secular setting as well.
Yes.
It's the same thing. It's the same concept, but that fertilization,
For sure.
key
So
ingredient, and nobody wants to mess with it, but we got to do it.
yes, absolutely. So it says there are four barriers to common ground. And
Hmm.
I've got the first, I'll share the first one, but we both have questions within it.
Yeah.
Assumptions. Making assumptions is a barrier, the barrier number one to common ground. What assumptions have you made recently that may have blocked connection?
Okay. Well, good. That's a good question, man. Recently, probably with there was an individual that I was trying to set up an interview for. I was on the fence with his resume, and I was just like, I'm only the recruiter. I'm not the subject matter expert in this.
Okay.
But my assumption was, he just doesn't have the skill set that we may be looking for. However, I wasn't reading between the lines as a subject matter expert because I'm just not in that field.
Yeah.
So I took the resume, uh, emailed it to the team, made some comments. But there were out of the four people, two of them mentioned, said, I like the skill set that he has and what he brings to the table from his experience in the past for these 3 to 4 years.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I missed that. Oh, and by the way, if you look down a little bit further in his work history, he also has this to where he dealt with several individuals as well with this particular certification.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that one too. Now, had my assumption been this guy's a lousy candidate, I wouldn't have set him up for the interview, and we could potentially be losing out on a very good applicant to bring to the team,
Mm-hmm.
because of my lack of understanding or my assumptions that I was holding against this. Now, again, we're only reading his resume, it's only on paper. So the message was to me like maybe you can't write a resume. Maybe you're just not the right person for this particular position. But I was wrong.
Mm.
So we got an interview set up. I'm not the final authority on who gets selected and who doesn't. The team is, but at least they said, "Hey, let's schedule an interview."
I love that. That's a perfect example. I can't make it any perfecter for lack of a better term. So you want to go to the next question in under that?
Sure. Let's ask this. Okay, what clues are you possibly missing when you assume you already know how someone feels or what they want?
What a question. What a
Oh
question.
man, you want
You,
a laundry list?
dude, you are missing the whole treasure that is that
Yep.
person. You are missing when you assume you already know how someone feels or what they want. In fact,
Mhm.
you are blocking the possibility of connection. You're blocking the
Mhm.
possibility of truly understanding them, and you're blocking the opportunity to find common ground. I already
Right.
know how Joe feels. I already know how he thinks.
Mhm.
Therefore, I don't have to ask him because I'm psychic. Apparently, I,
Yeah.
I right. Since I'm psychic, I don't. I already know what you're thinking, and but it also it devalues and it totally invalidates the other person because
Exactly.
because you're
Yeah.
assuming you're basically saying I'll do your thinking for you,
Hmm.
right? Like I'll
Yes.
do your thinking for you. I already know how you think and feel
Right.
and desire and all this other stuff. How invalidating. So that's my point. It completely invalidates the person if you miss those
Yeah.
cues.
I got a follow up for that. Let me ask you this. I know I'm going to ask this way, but I know you've been in these settings to where somebody is giving a briefing and it's a Q&A session, right?
Yeah.
And people got their hands up. They're going to ask the person a question. And as soon as the person is asking the question, they get 3 or 4 words out of their mouth, and the person just cuts them off and says, basically, they start answering the question for them
Oh, I hate that.
before they finish the question. It's like you were saying, I already know the answer. I already know how they feel. And the person finished asking my question. There was one leader that I had. She worked in Oklahoma in Tulsa. I would just start to ask the question. Okay, you need to do this, 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 and this, and this, and this. And if you got any questions, give me a call. Click. Like, okay, I don't even know what you just said, so I guess I better call you.
Right, right. I would get so frustrated by someone
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then, question: who in your life right now might you be misunderstanding because of false assumption?
Oh my goodness. It could be several coworkers. It could be a member of my family. Uh, and without getting into too much detail with this one situation, there was a person that, they're going through some marital issues right now. And with that, they're telling me, the spouse did this and the spouse didn't do that. And the only thing I could reflect on was my past experience when my parents were married. It was almost like a reflection of what this individual is going through in their marriage. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of know how you feel. Well, no, I don't. But although I can say this is what my parents went through, and it kind of sounds and looks similar to what you're going through, but I don't know how you feel. I can only observe the actions of what's going on, but I don't know how you feel. But if I say that, man, it's a total misunderstanding and it's false. And they could fire right back at me and say, no, you don't know how I feel. I can't get defensive. I'm just going to have to sit there and say, yeah, you know what? You're right. I don't.
Right. Right. Um. No. Yeah. You killed it. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. I don't know how you feel. Will you tell me? Or what do we have in common? I'm not
Yeah.
going to assume anything.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do the work to discover what we have in common and make no assumptions.
Hey, let me ask you this since we're talking about the common ground, but based on that given scenario,
Yep.
has there ever been a point to where it's like, I really don't have anything in common, or I don't know what to say to this individual because I don't have anything in
So
common.
yes,
You
so
know what I mean?
it's come to that, and for
Yeah.
me, it's like okay, we don't have very much to connect on
Correct.
in
Yeah.
terms of our values, our vision, our goals, our history, whatever. We don't have much to connect on yet.
Yeah.
But then I try to continue to do work to find that another means to connect, because there's other
Yeah.
ways to connect. We might not have common ground, but we may align on our vision. We may align on our values, or something like that. So the next barrier to finding common ground, what's that, Jay?
Arrogance. Oh man, arrogance. I think we've all kind of stepped in this one at one point, but here's the question: how does arrogance show up in your conversations?
In short, when they are focused on you, your
Hmm.
greatness, your lack of empathy, your whatever,
Yeah.
when you enter in a conversation with the goal being to make you look good rather than to emphasize what you and the other person has in common, that is kind of conversational arrogance.
It is, and I can equate that to sometimes going to the doctor's office. They look at your lab results or they go over something it's like, okay, you got this, this, and this. I'm going to prescribe this and this and this. Come see me in 6 months, and you're on your way out the door.
Yeah.
You know this the issues, maybe the symptoms,
Yeah.
but we're just putting a Band-Aid over it, right, Doc? Over the sucking chest wound.
Mm-hmm.
But because you got your medical degree and all I got is a first aid kit in my truck, I guess I don't know enough, to even ask a question.
Right.
But that arrogance, I mean, it showed up in my conversations as well, even like earlier when bringing up the conversation about, you're asking a question, the person already knows the answer.
Yeah.
But arrogance is just one of those things. And I think we all start off that way in the beginning. We know it all. We're placed in a certain position.
Yeah.
We're promoted into another position. I must know something
And
because now I'm accelerating.
yeah,
But we
there is
don't.
nothing stinkier than the rot of arrogance. There is
Oh,
nothing stinkier than an arrogant person
yeah.
swooshing in, like, look at me, look at my thing, focus on me
Mhm.
and my stories. I'm the coolest person in the room. I'm smarter than
Yeah.
you. That reeks. That reeks. And I always say arrogance is something that people can detect. It reeks. And so
Yeah.
that's how arrogance shows up. And so when I'm being arrogant, I reek in the conversation, and I don't want to do that. So that's
Right.
something that's important to me. All right, what do you think? Maxwell means when he says, you can't build a relationship with everybody in the room when you don't care about anybody in the room.
Oh my God, that's one of those Maxwellian moments that I've had early on.
Uh huh.
Um, to where, you can't. I mean, if I don't care, even if there's one person in the room that I don't care about, out of 25 people, I think I've lost the other 24.
Mm,
And I know that sounds that's my naivete speaking, but I know that you have to care about everybody from one degree to the next, and everybody's not the same. I understand that. We just can't toss a blanket over everybody, one size fits all.
yes, sir.
But at the same time, I should be conveying some sort of message somehow, some way, whether it's in my expression, my demeanor, the words that I speak, hand on the shoulder, the firm handshake. Man, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
You know, kissing my wife, giving her a huge hug just for no reason.
Yep.
That has to say something, but it has to say something to everybody in the room, even if it's just that minute portion to where they can walk out of the room and say, "Wow, that was not only inspiring, but maybe that's a little bit of something I can take with me out the door today."
Mm, I like that. I love that.
Yeah. But as we move on with arrogance, have you ever seen arrogance shut down a potential connection?
Oh, tons of times. Oh,
Haven't we all? Haven't
tons of
we
times.
all?
And so what I'll talk about briefly is the smart, the person who is smart.
Mhm.
And so smart can be a gift, but if it's overdone, it can be a curse. And so there are
Yes.
people who are smart in one limited area. Say maybe they have their bachelor's, master's, or PhD in one area. I have seen those people sometimes show up as if they know all things in all areas. And again, the stench of arrogance is a universal turnoff. And so
Mhm.
I've worked with those people, and they're like, "Well, I just can't understand why I can't get people to work with me. I can't. They'll be like, I can't understand why people don't want to be around me or try to align with me on initiatives that I have."
Yeah.
And I always tell them, Joe, I will tell them, you reek of arrogance.
Yeah.
No one wants to work with you because you're arrogant.
Yes.
Have you
Yes.
stopped to ask someone else what they think? So, yeah, I have seen it shut down
Yeah.
connections in real time. It's crazy.
But there's also those times when that person in the room, the smartest guy in the room that we're talking about, right? When we do ask them that, hey, why don't you ask somebody else or put that question out to the group? Hey, what do you guys think? And you're going to see some hands going up. What about this? Have you
Yeah.
considered that? Or, I don't like it, this idea because of this situation. They give relevant answers. But that person who's in charge will be like, okay, those are all great, but we're still going to go with what I said. Did you just hear some of the great ideas that were coming out of these people's mouths?
Yeah.
I mean, I've kind of seen that end of the spectrum too, man. And it's like, golly, man, what do you got some brilliant people in the room?
Right. You're not leveraging the genius in the room.
Exactly,
That's his or her
exactly.
fault. And quite honestly, full confession, I need to be better at that. Leverage the genius in the room. Leverage the genius
Yes.
on your teams. Joe, I'm about to ask you to do a whole lot more stuff because we're in connection and it's too late.
Hmm.
It's just too late for you to it's just too late for you to bail now. Uh, you are too talented for me to not be leveraging your genius. So let's go
Uh-oh.
to barrier number 3 to finding common ground, and that is indifference. Okay. How does indifference creep in when you're stressed or busy? How does indifference
Oh man.
creep in when you're stressed or busy?
Sometimes it can come under the guise of just being so subtle
Mm,
and being so nice, that it's just like, and I like the question because there's two examples there of being stressed. We all get stressed from one point to the next, whether it's something we have at home that's going on or something that's going on at work that we
right.
just can't get through, or a combination of both, and it'll stress us out. There's that, the bad stress, and there's the stresses, which are good stresses. But when those bad ones come up and they do creep in, and it creates that snowball effect. The boss has changed his mind. Now he wants this and this. You've worked so hard on this particular project, and now he's saying, we're not, scrap that. Scrap it, dude. You know how many hours I put into this?
Mm-hmm.
and now you're telling me to scrap, and now you're telling me to shift gears and shift priorities. Now, granted, I may not see the big vision that you see because you are the boss. Okay, I get it. But then I got some other circumstances going on at home, and then I'm busy. I'm busy, but I'm not productive to get things done that need to get done.
Yeah. Yep.
Pounds the stress.
Yeah. Right. And so the indifference can creep in because you're
Mhm.
just like, I'm busy. I don't have time to be concerned about somebody else's thing.
Ah,
And that can crush them
yes.
because they put their heart and soul and value in it. Um uh I like this next question. Joe, you want to read the next one here?
Yeah. So what does it look like when someone stops caring enough to connect?
I call that kind of the silent death of the relationship.
Ooh,
And that can happen very quickly or it can happen
yeah.
slowly over time. When someone stops caring enough to connect, then instead of a singular group, you have islands of people
Mhm.
that just happen to be in the same proximity of each other. And
Yes.
you can kind of tell when it's like, okay, if people read, oh, that's what I wanted to say. I'll say this and then I want to get your opinion. If people read that you have stopped caring, they're gonna follow suit.
Oh my God. Yeah. They will. And now, instead of having this cohesive, productive team, and I'm going to use the work environment as an example,
Yep.
and now you're silently at odds with one another,
Mm-hmm.
and not one word has to be spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Tasks might be given out. You're sitting in the room or you're sitting on a conference call, and tasks are given out and are just task to do lists. Get it done.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Tacit.
there's, yeah, very, very, there's accountability, but no no interaction with one another. And I think that creates another stress as well in the workplace. And then what happens? It's in the workplace. So what do we do with it? We don't leave it at work. Sometimes we bring it home. And
Yes.
I think that's dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Absolutely. Okay. What's the difference between setting boundaries and being indifferent?
Oh man, so setting boundaries is something that is going to be non-negotiable. For instance, you're not going to compromise your faith. You're not going to compromise your family time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to threaten me with if you don't get this done by a certain date, your leave is not going to be approved. Well, I was going on vacation from this time to this time,
Yeah.
and I already put in my vacation time, and now you're threatening it because something came down the pipe.
Right.
All right. Being indifferent would be is like, well, you know what? Uh, I'm just not going to do it because that's my personality.
Yeah.
And the team is just going to have to suck it up and deal with my stuff
Right.
when I'm gone
Right.
because, I may not, my vacation time may not have been threatened.
Yeah.
I could just have a demeaning personality in terms of like, whatever it is whatever it is. And I'm number one on the list. And that's all folks need to know.
Okay. Bet.
I'm taking care of me first.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when I think of setting boundaries versus being indifferent, setting boundaries is like, look, I can't do that right now.
Mhm.
Being indifferent is like I don't care at all.
Yeah,
And so I may not be able to do it right
yeah,
now, but
yeah.
let me put it on my list. And when I get down to that part on my list, I want to give
Mm,
you my undivided attention, but I can't right now. Indifference is
right.
just like, ho hum, I really don't care. So let's just never talk about that again. Um,
Exactly. Not in my
so
wheelhouse.
right. So the fourth barrier to finding common
Ah,
ground is control.
control. Yep. So, where might be you withholding parts of yourself in conversations?
Oh my goodness. So Joe, we try to keep each one of these episodes a tight hour. This one is where we can get way off.
Uh-huh.
The only thing I'm going to say is I might be withholding parts of myself in conversations as to not appear vulnerable or to not appear to need help.
Hmm.
And that cuts off the connective relationship between
Yeah.
me and potential helpers.
Mhm.
And so that is where I'm withholding. I know it. I know it. I'm in the process of unpacking that and liberating myself from that bad habit. But that's where.
Oh man, that was brilliant. That was brilliant, man. I like how you said unpack. I like how you did unpack it.
Mhm. Yep. Okay, so why is it so hard to let people in, especially in leadership or high pressure roles? Woo!
Oh man, I like that one. Well, it used to, and I came up under, leaders when I was younger that they had to know everything.
Mm,
I mean, they really had to know it all. They were it. Leadership back in the day was just you do as I say, when I tell you to do it, and how I tell you to do it. So I'm still dealing with that generation as well.
yeah.
Leadership now is what? We lead by example, of course, like we did in the army or any branch of the military. We lead by example. I like the story that what John Maxwell says in one of his books, and I can't remember which one it's in. It might be the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And he was talking at a conference, and he was saying that let your people know when you mess up. Let them know that hey, I made a mistake. And that's one of the things as well. And then as leaders, we don't want to let them know. We don't want to let them know our mistakes, our screw ups, our inconsistencies. We just want to show them how great we are. But John said that a CEO came up to him and said, "Hey, man, you can't tell your subordinates where you're weak in certain areas and all that. You can't let them know your mistakes." And he looked at the CEO and said, "Well, what makes you think they don't already know?"
Right.
You know what? He hit the nail on the head. And I believe that the people that we work with, members of our family, in the community, in our churches, I think they know our weaknesses.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But when we get into these high pressured roles at times, we want to do our best to shine, to be that again, that smartest person in the room,
Right.
because we were elevated to that position and we don't want to screw it up. We don't want to mess it up. But we got to show people what we can do. But I think we need to show people, like you were talking about vulnerability a moment ago, and say, I'm having a little bit of trouble. Team, let's brainstorm. Let's throw out some ideas on the board, on the whiteboard, and see what we can come up with.
Mm,
Or go to the wife and say, honey, I messed up. I'm going to need your help and to help me correct a problem
yeah.
so I can get that. And I got to let people in. I've got to let people in, man. If
Yes.
I don't, I'm ineffective.
Yes. For sure. For sure. That just resonates and rings true. That
Mhm.
just resonates and rings true. I gotta let people in. If not, I'm ineffective. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let me ask you this. What are the risks of control and what might you be missing when you try to protect yourself?
Again, kind of what I was saying. The risk of control is I got this. And
Mm,
if people see you got it, they're not going to offer their assistance or their connection.
yeah.
But if people see that you are open with the fact that this is what I have and these other things I don't have yet, will you help me in the things that I don't have down or that I'm not good at? Will you help me do those things? And if you do,
Yes.
we both can win because we both will be moving towards our respective goals, but we will be winning together. So the risk of overly controlling is you don't let other people in that can help you and really lighten your load,
Oh, yeah.
right? by
Yeah.
by being allowed to help. So when I try to protect myself, I end up really you hurt yourself by being overly
Mm.
protected.
Yeah. I like that the way you mentioned that lightening your load a little bit, like just getting some of that off you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not pack mules. We can't
No.
put everything on our backs.
Right.
So that's why we have to have that team and be consistent with our teams and say, look, I can take this, but I need to offload this on you because I know you're good in this area. So I
Yes.
need you to help me out.
Mm.
So I think that's good. That was a good one, man.
So Joe, I'm going to go to segment 3, cultivating a common ground mindset. This is a really important question. When have you had an opportunity to connect but didn't take it?
Oh man, I you ever just run into somebody at a store
Yeah. Yep.
and there's just like this unction inside of you, like, I gotta go talk to this person. I don't know
Yes.
why, but I gotta say, as soon as I open my mouth, I know that's gonna open the door. But for some reason, I just don't. It's like, maybe if I go do this, I can come around this aisle. And if they're there, I'll make that, I'll take advantage of it and start speaking to them then. But they may be long gone. And it could be the same way with a family member. I need one of my cousins about something, and I don't. And then a week later, I do call, but it's after the fact. It's too late. But there's has been several moments to where I had the opportunity to connect with somebody, and it could have been a good. It could have been a good client, that I
Right.
could have connected with. When I took my wife to the airport a couple days ago, we were standing in line. She was checking her bag, and there was a guy in front of us, right? And we were looking at my wife's tag to put on her suitcase so she could go to baggage claim when she got to her destination. And we didn't wrap it on the handle. And the guy in front of us said, "Oh yeah, you just take this, put it on the handle when you get there." He said, and we said, "Well, we know. We just wanted to make sure we're doing it right, so we're going to ask the person at the desk." He said, "Oh, okay." And we started talking, and I said, "So what do you do?" He said, "Oh, I'm into potato farming."
Oh, cool.
Well, I'm like, wow, really? I said, well, I like French fries and potato chips. And he said, well, that's good news for me. And then he went on talking about his equipment to get the potatoes out of the ground and so on. So he's been doing it for like 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that's interesting. I said, you have a business card? He said, yeah, I sure do. Gave me his business card. So there was that opportunity. But I think I guess to get to your point is that we have to be in practice all the time of
Yes.
connecting with somebody and even doing just that small thing, say, do you have a business card? And then not just take the business card, but even though that might be the opportunity that where we actually connected, no, we really didn't because we didn't follow up with an email or a phone call.
Mhm.
We did not take the opportunity to finish connecting with that person when we asked for their business card. All we got is another business card in the wallet.
Right. Right. So you had an interaction with them, but you didn't.
That's all. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just an
That's all.
interaction, and you didn't do the work to get to connection. Mine was like
Yeah.
this. This happened this week, and it was with my next door neighbor. Like my next door neighbor has a dog that barks all the time. It never stops barking.
Mhm.
So one evening, my son and I were out walking. We waited till evening because it was a little bit cooler. Well, the dog is out and just walking down the street. And I was so annoyed. I was like, first of all, put your dog on a leash. I don't know if your dog
Yeah.
is safe or dangerous or whatever. The dog walks up. It's a friendly, super friendly dog. The neighbor's like, it's okay. She's a puppy. She's super nice. Yada, yada, yada. I just kept walking. I didn't say anything. I just walked into my driveway and walked inside. Like I was such a Grinch in that moment. And I have been
Oh,
convicted ever since that moment. Like, Brian, you totally disregarded that person,
mm,
totally ignored them. They were trying to be social or whatever. And I wish I could have that moment back, Joe.
yeah.
Yes, I had an opportunity to connect, to acknowledge her, to validate, to talk about, because we both have dogs and they're kind of the same color and same size. But
Right.
I totally blew that. So guilty is
Oh,
charged.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness, man. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, you kind of answered it though, but what did you miss out on because you didn't engage then? I mean, what
Oh
did you
my
miss out
God.
on?
So much stuff, like so much
Yeah.
stuff. First of all, we could build a good relationship with them.
Mm,
We could be, we could enrich our neighborhood by having stronger community bonds. Um, what else? If I'm a Christian and eventually I want to witness to them, well, now why would they want to hear anything about faith from a guy that was just mean to them?
yeah, exactly.
Right? Who wants to hear like you were a jerk? I tried to speak to you and you just pretended like I
Mhm.
didn't exist. So it
Yeah.
compromises that as well. So I missed out on a lot. Quite honestly, I missed out on a lot. Yeah, I missed out on a
Okay.
lot. So the
Oh,
next, yeah. So the next one is cultivating a common ground mindset. The next one we're going to talk about is availability.
hmm.
Who do you need to be more available to right now? Oh man.
uh, Family, of course.
Yep.
And I would say second. I wouldn't even say family is first. Because we're men of faith, and you just mentioned our Christianity, I would say actually be more available to God right now.
Mm.
Yeah. And how do I put that in perspective though? Is it more prayer time? Is it more Bible reading? Is it more, uh fellowshipping with other believers. I mean, first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
And then my family, of course. I think right now that's who I would say that I be more available to. When I think it was in Isaiah when it was asked, the Lord said, "Whom shall I send?" And he responded, "Send me, Lord. Here I am. Send me."
Hmm.
Uh, but I think in from that it would be those two. I need to be more available to God right now, and more available to my family next. And if I put those two in perspective, I really believe everything else will really just fall into place. Or if it doesn't fall into place, I that I'm going to know how to handle certain situations a little bit better.
Right. Right. I would say right now it would be my son.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'd be my son. He
Yeah.
kind of opened up to me earlier today, and I want to be available for him. He's about to be 19 tomorrow. He's got life decisions, career decisions, all of those things. So I need to be available to him for sure.
Amen. Amen. That's good news, man. And I know you will be, no
Yes.
doubt. No doubt. Let me ask you this. Well, what's one simple way you can show up differently this week?
Don't let stuff get in the way of connections.
Yeah, I like that. Short and sweet and to the point.
Yep.
You just hit it. That was great.
Uh,
I guess we're moving on to listening. So
oh
go
man,
ahead.
listening. So
Oh.
listening is a way to cultivate common ground. Are you truly listening or just waiting for your turn to speak?
Good point. I can think of multiple times in the past to where a person was speaking, and the only thing I was thinking is what I'm going to say next. I don't know if you've ever been in those situations,
Oh,
but
no.
once I realized I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next, I'm really not listening. But once I realized that what I was doing, I was like, man, I can't do that anymore. And it just didn't stop like that. Oh, light came on. I don't have to do that. I can just listen. No, I had to put that into practice. And that was difficult because I thought I was listening, but I was only thinking about what I was going to say next. Okay, stop. Focus on what that person is saying and listen to what they're saying.
Mhm.
Stephen Covey said what? Seek first, listen. He said, seek to understand first,
Right.
and that's what he was saying. And I think that falls in line with that we have to, you know, just listen and we can wait when it's our turn to speak,
Yeah.
but we have to truly listen. And listening and hearing are just two different things.
Yep. Very, very true. Hearing,
Yeah.
listening. It's like the great Shema is like
Mhm.
there's a part in the Bible they call it the great Shema where it talks about hero is Israel, the Lord your God is one. Um,
Yes.
but the word they use is exactly what you say. Don't just hear, it's
Hmm.
listen, comply,
Yeah.
receive, all of that. So
I love it.
for sure. And then
Yeah.
what I've heard from research, what I've heard academically is your brain has a singular language processor,
Mm.
meaning you can
Do tell.
only be processing one language at a time.
Yes.
Meaning, if you're just waiting on what you're going to say, you ain't listening. Your
Yeah.
brain can't
Oh,
do
that's
both.
good.
Your brain can't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why it's really, really hard to have something playing in the background that has words and also try to read. Your brain is trying to process both of those and it can only process one.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Kind of like multitasking.
yes,
There's
100%.
no such thing.
No such thing as multitasking. It's
Yeah.
doing several, it's basically doing several tasks poorly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Oh man. Hey, when was the last time someone felt really heard by you?
Hopefully it was today.
Mhm.
Hopefully it was today. And the great conversation that I had the pleasure of having with my son a little bit
Yeah.
earlier today. I hope he
Mhm.
felt heard. And as soon as this is over, I'm going to go find him and revisit that
Yeah.
and listen and ask him, how do you feel about that? What do you want to do? What do you think your options are? Kind of coaching him, but I want him to feel heard. So hopefully today.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I had a similar situation today with my grandson. and just some of the things, he's 17, going through a few things at adolescent age, you know, whatever. So
Mhm.
it was something similar along those lines. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you mean.
And
I
so,
know
Joe,
what you
here's what I want to rapid fire the last couple of these,
mean.
and you can pick from any one of these. So we've got questions, thoughtfulness, openness, likability, humility. One of the things I want to ask is the questions help develop common ground. One of the questions is, what's stopping you from being more curious about others?
Oh my goodness. I think my own prejudices.
Do tell.
Like just saying that, one, maybe this person, they give the impression that they know a lot more than anybody else.
Mm,
So why should I even bother? And at the other end of the spectrum, guess what? There's been times where I've said, maybe they don't know that much,
mhm.
you know. But the thing is, you mentioned the word coaching a moment ago. Sometimes you have to pull certain things out of people,
Yeah.
coach, to where you can even learn from them, And I believe that we as coaches can learn from our coachees, our mentees as
Oh, for
well,
sure, for sure, absolutely.
and put that into other practice. But yeah.
All right.
Um,
What question do you want to ask?
okay. Oh, let's see. Let me ask you this. Openness. What would you change in your relationships if you were more transparent?
Woo!
Yeah, I hope I didn't put you on the spot, brother.
Woo! Man, whoa. What would I change in my relationship if you were more transparent? I think my marriage would be better and my parenting would be better. But I think my marriage would be better because people can't read minds.
Oh, yeah.
People can't read minds. So the frustration that comes in a relationship is, after a while you just assume that that person should be able to read your mind. They
Yeah.
never have, and they never will be able to. You have to
Guilty. Yep.
do the work you
Yes.
got to do the work to reveal yourself. You've
Yep.
got to do the work to be transparent. And you
Hmm.
can't do this thing. Here's what we do. Number one, we don't share with people what we want. Number two,
Hmm.
we don't tell people how to win. And then number three, we get frustrated when they don't do the thing that we never told them how to do.
Exactly.
And that is where a lot of relationship frustration comes from. So if I was more transparent, it would definitely help my marriage. My wife would know exactly what I needed. I would know exactly how I can connect with her. That it
Hmm.
would be a total game changer.
Oh man, I like that. Game changer. I love that. Game changer
Mhm.
in marriage. That's cool.
Yes. What about you? What about you? I love that question.
I think it would be the same thing. I mean, you hit the nail on the head because there's times where, and that's one of my wife's favorite lines. I'm not a mind reader, you know. But I mean, yeah, she's absolutely right. I'm like, if I got things going on and I'm frustrated at work, or I'm frustrated with whatever's going on over here or over there, and I'm just quiet. I'm like, oh man, and she says, oh, why don't you just tell me what's going on? I'm not a mind reader,
Yeah.
you know. And I've used that line myself in several incidences with her or with other people. Hey, look, there's two things I don't read: minds and comic books.
Mhm.
So let's start talking. So I would agree with you. It would have to be from the marriage perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like from a team perspective here,
Mhm.
transparency is a great bridge that you're extending to other people.
Mm,
You are transparent with, hey, this is where we are in the process. This
right.
is where I am with my skill set. This is where I am with that project. This is where I am with these goals that I want to achieve. And this is where I am in completing them. You are
Yes.
your transparency is giving people a clear picture of where they can help you and where you're and what's going on from a point of honesty. They don't know, but they care. And so it really reduces the frustration in the relationship if you greet them with, hey, this is what's going on with me. I don't
Yeah.
want to hold that against you. And do you think we withhold transparency because we don't want to connect with people?
Yes, I believe we do because, and I'm thinking vulnerability as well, because we
Yeah.
don't want to be vulnerable with anybody. We really don't want them to see our true identity when we're hurting, when we don't know how to perform a task,
Mhm.
or maybe our inconsistencies, our faults, what have you. So we hide that, we keep it close to us. We keep the cards close to our chest, so to speak, because we don't want to, show our hand of what we got, what cards we're holding. So, but being transparent, we can give a little and say, this, like you were saying, can you help me with this? I'm not good at that. But then if we start getting close to the edge of that line of vulnerability, man, we just don't want to open up. We want to be, as men, we want to be the strong, silent type.
Mhm.
We want to be the type that just say, yeah, we can take on the world, grab the world by the horns and we can win. And, we got it all covered.
Yep.
But we know we don't.
Mhm.
But we, like you were saying, we got to be transparent in that in order to build and to maintain our relationships at home, in at work, or in the community.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So, kind of wrapping this up. So, connectors find common ground. They celebrate the common ground. They do the work to discover the common ground. And
Mhm.
not only do they do the work to discover the common ground, they also do the work to earn that transparent relationship with other people. And so, Joe, as master connectors, one of my takeaways is be available for people and be transparent with people. So
Yeah.
they feel heard and they know exactly, they fully see you and where you
Mhm.
need help and where you can help them. What about your takeaway from the episode?
I would say the same thing, but I also would add accountability to that
Mm,
because one, I have to be accountable as well, but I also need somebody to be accountable to me also.
mhm.
It's a relationship. It's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. I grew up on a one-way street. So picture this. If I'm only seeing cars going in the same direction first 18 years of my life, that's all I know.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could walk down to the other end of the one-way street and see a whole new different life
Mhm.
because I'm only watching the traffic go this way.
Right.
So I would say I would add accountability into that, to being accountable to others and available, yes, and transparent. But I need to be accountable and have someone accountable to me to where we can share those ideas, bounce things off of each other, and continue to grow. Like you said, it's a mindset, it's a growth mindset.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
how you share that, to be accountable and have people accountable to you.
Mhm.
So, Joe, this episode has been a pleasure.
Mhm.
It has hit me like a ton of bricks. I've got work
Mhm.
to do, and I think it's doing the work of to kind of sand. It's doing the work to sand off the rough places from me.
Right.
It's like, oh, I got to do that a little bit better. But like again, thank you for your insight. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for helping us prepare for this. And just thank you for being a partner in this quest of ours to continue to work on the practice and skill of connection.
Man, the pleasure's all mine, brother. And I thank you so much. And like I always say, I don't take this for granted. Man, you add so much value and insight into my life as well. And I hope whoever is going to watch that they have those takeaways as well from everything that you provided to me today, for me today as well. So thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. You got a great family, beautiful wife, great sons. And I know because of the parent that you are, the father that you are, your sons are going to go forth and do mighty things in the world and do great and mighty and awesome exploits.
Yeah, I see the same. I see the same thing in you. Wisdom, skill, experience, servant's heart, like accomplishment as well. So I just find it a pleasure to be around you. And as long as we can keep doing this, I don't care what the topic is. Let's just keep doing it. Keep meeting together, encouraging each other, and then spreading the word as this thing grows.
Amen. Iron sharpens iron, brother.
I love it. All right. And on that note, that's all we have for this episode of the Connector Circle. Connectors find common ground. Well, I think we both commonly agree that we've enjoyed this episode. Whenever and however you watch this, please add this to your repertoire and practice being available to the people that you know, serve, and love. And I'm Brian Rush. He is.
I'm Joe Vigil.
That's all we have for this episode of the Connector Circle. I'm going to end like I usually do. And until next time, connect and inspire, and win.